Okay. We don't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Hope we don't have that luck today.
No. Hey, Neil, come next to me.
If you guys could step over a little.
Eileen, you should be here. Come get in.
Yeah, let's get 1 second
Okay.
without her. 1 second. 1, 2, 3.
But she is a...
Everybody look over here. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for this kiss. Thank you for this kiss.
Hey, Rebbe,
So-
how are you doing, man?
Yeah.
How are you?
Okay.
Everything good?
Yeah. I prepared this proper speech.
Yeah. This Hashem. So the kinds of mixes feeling Hashem Beravi.
Amen. Why tell you, when you have the Gelegenheit,
Yeah.
I like to go to the city. I heard people, how many people are going there. I didn't know. So what's this cost?
Prepare what you want.
The ganze Tefillah. Bei Seite gewinnt Chokke gekostet. By me, Ribnitzer Rebbe, Mazel Tov. This is by me one of the most frightening moments today. Because given the job by Rav Cohen to make a presentation on the Sefer, I don't call it a book. English we call it a book because people don't know what a Sefer means. It's a Heilige Sefer that tries to touch the life of a Heilige Yid.
Amen.
So we
That's
should
right.
do make a big Kiddush Hashem today when it's all over. Amen.
Beautiful. Thank you.
So nice to be here.
Hello, how are you? So nice to see you.
That's right.
Should be here in a few minutes. They're already on the way for quite some time, so they should be here in the next few minutes. And she's going to come. Mandy, what you're doing is a job which is a Kiddush Hashem Berabim, which I think is once once a few in the whole world. Because will help what you're doing here. The schis from the Boyenshan should pay you back. Without any interruptions, be able to do Kiddush Hashem together with your family. Bis 25 Ad Bias Goel.
Amen. This is important because the Satmar Rav said that Noch the Chorban, their Yid was blab for him, and was tired of the Yid, he's the one to give a bracha.
Okay, no.
So thank you, Rav Cohen.
Thank you,
Thank you, Rav Cohen. Amen. Thank you.
And this is my cousin.
Tov, we're thrilled to be here for this wonderful event. Look forward to many more.
We're so proud of everything you have done, and we're very fond and the respect that you show to all our family. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Professor is here.
Hi.
Professor Lori.
Hello.
Professor Lori.
It's a great honor.
Sure. How are you?
Baruch Hashem.
Malavi.
Thank you.
You know, I have your invitation returned in my house.
Oh, this go. I thought at 1 o'clock I thought it was starting. I see we're late already. Great. Oh,
Bagpipers are coming.
I'll say a few words. You know, Rosh Hashanah is next week.
Yeah.
Rosh Hashanah, the beginning of the new year. So I was thinking, we know each other, I don't know how many years.
There's a secret, don't
Okay.
don't give away. It must be at least 40, 50
But
years.
they say the pshat, why the capital before shofar blowing is Livnei Koirach Mizmar.
Yeah,
Why Lam Tech?
yeah, okay.
Tehillim has 10 different mechabrim.
Right.
So why were they Zoicha B'nei Koirach?
Yeah.
Because 2 minutes to the shofar, a person is thinking, it's already too late, I should have started doing tshuva at the beginning of Elul. Now it's 2 minutes, they're going to blow shofar. Livnei Koirach, don't forget the B'nei Koirach.
Last minute.
It was the last minute, they said, we're doing tshuva. They got to the edge of the hole, and they got out, and then, so a person should never give up.
Very good.
And a lot of the stories that you've told us, that you lived through with the partisan and how you were in Matzavim, that it looked like it was the end, and Baruch Hashem,
He
you
also
were...
told us a story with the Ribnitzer Rebbe when he was on a Friday, if I'm not mistaken, right? You were on your way to a bris, and he said Shalom Aleichem to both sides of him, and then he all of a sudden traffic disappeared.
That's right.
That's
Amazing.
What's your name?
this is David.
But I think I know who was your mother.
This one was also you, Amal. This is the one on Shabbos. You came to say, this is Ephraim.
Beautiful Ephraim. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Sure.
Baruch Hashem.
Hey, Romi.
It's a guy, but he's a bit way you ice it.
How are the boys? Oh.
It's good to see you. We have to talk one day.
I'm happy to see you.
All right. Let me take these guys. Thank you.
Rabbi Cohen doesn't know about it yet. We got to keep it a surprise until we present it to him.
One second, I gotta unhook.
Thank you very much.
Uncle, smile. Come on, smile. That's right. That's right.
Hello, Mavi. Come on, show you the garden.
Hadi. Smile.
You smile?
He's smiling.
Kevin Woods, for the record, a very good friend of all of Staten Island. Takes care of us 24/7, keeps us safe. Chief Kevin Woods came in honor of the Ribnitzer Rebbe today.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you for having me. My name is Kevin Woods. I am the Staten Island Borough Commander, And Mr. Cohn, you're truly an inspiration to all of us. We appreciate it. Thank you for having me as your guest.
Very honored. It's a real honor to have you here, especially the letter you sent was so touching. So what a beautiful letter. I want to only say, may God bless you with good health, good fortune, forever after. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Also, we're happy that Mrs. Cohen is here today. Her perfect refuah shalem of Ribnitzer Rebbe we're doing today.
It's her immense credit. I'm just innocent bystander.
And I hope you will come maybe for the day we have the play. Remember we had a play about Rabbi Cohn and the Staten Island survivors. I hope you can come to that.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
But we needed them. But they're here for us all the time. But also Sarah, they're here for us all the time. You shouldn't forget Kurt.
Romi, congratulations, Mazel Tov. What a huge accomplishment once again. We're very happy for you. Nice celebration today. Let's enjoy.
I couldn't have said it any better. Second book. Looking forward to reading it.
Hi, this is Charlie Greinsky. I'm the commander of the Jewish War Vets and president of Congregation B'nai Israel, which is the closest synagogue to where we're standing today. This is a momentous occasion that we still have a survivor who is writing and making sure that the truth and the history comes out. And congratulations to Romney on his second book, and enjoy the day. And remember, the Jewish War Vets are the oldest chartered veterans organization in the country. So we exist, we're going to exist, and let's never forget.
I'm Dr. Bruce Eisberg. I'm covering this important event for Staten Island Viewpoint and Staten Island Community Television. This is a very important occasion. Rabbi Rami Cohn, the author of The Youngest Partisan 10 years ago, is coming out with a new book, The Ribnitzer Rebbe. And it's a very momentous occasion. We wish him great success as he has such an impact on our world with his stories from the past. And we appreciate the opportunity to share some new information, and we wish him great success in that.
It's my honor to here today to be representing Assemblywoman Nicole Maliatakis. She has a big devotion and love for the Jewish community here, and everything that you have done and shared and taught the people in this country through your writings. With that, I wish you all the best, Mazel Tov, and many more good wishes.
Thank you so much for coming here. We appreciate it very, very much. You're adding to the joy.
Thank you for having us.
Shalom Aleichem, how are you?
Fine, congratulations. 2 eggs. My dear friend, if I could say friend, should be I have and be part of Klal Yisrael in Kaddish Shema Berabim, always, like till now, always.
Amen.
Oh, I missed you and Sheil. I wanted to come over to you and Sheil.
How are you? So nice
Great honor to be here.
So nice to hear. Want to say a few words?
Mazel Tov to the best neighbor one can have.
Oh, thank you.
This is Barry and Sheila. He's
so nice to see you.
president of the synagogue. They've heard a lot about you.
You have a geweldige schus, you know. You have,
Yes.
you know what you possess.
Yes.
It's something which a treasure
Yes.
which is nothing alike.
Yes.
Baruch Hashem, you know.
Baruch
Know what
Hashem.
means Kiddush Hashem?
Baruch Hashem.
She's sacrificing God with all whatever could be.
My whole family is blessed.
Yeah.
Baruch Hashem.
Yeah, what she's doing, what
Hashem
she's
takes
doing
care of
for
us.
Hashem is something which is very, very special. And this is, we're making this honor here, honor for the Ribnitzer Rebbe. And he was a great, great man. And I'm sure that he'll appreciate what you did for him.
Reading his book was very moving.
Yeah.
Every page, a lesson on every page.
So nice of you to come.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah. Please make yourself comfortable.
Thank you. So,
We're sitting on the other days, yeah?
and it's a big. Oh, you want me to speak into
Yeah.
the microphone? Let me put this down here. Thank you, Rabbi Cohn, for inviting me here. I want to say Dr. Rabbi Cohn because I had the honor to bestow a doctorate at Wagner College a few years ago on Rabbi Cohn, along with the president of Wagner College, because we're all inspired by the courage of your story and by the Ahavas Hashem. And I have had the honor to teach many times the book, The Youngest Partisan. I feel like I know it by heart, and some of my students actually do know parts of it by heart because we've written a play, created 4 films by students and by professional videographers at the Advance. One of the films won a New York Emmy with Rabbi Cohn's life story in it. And so that chapter of being a partisan, of being a resistor, is a lesson for all the generations, but especially now. And this new book on the Ribnitzer Rebbe, I see why we need this book for our generation, with so many hate crimes, with so much political division, with so much global anti-Semitism, and even here on Staten Island. We need a book that inspires us with the Rebbe's compassion for all creatures. And it's a great honor to be able to speak about the book later and to be inspired by 2 great rabbis and now a 3rd rabbi, now that I know about the Ribnitzer Rebbe and all of the miracles and wonders that he has accomplished, giving sight to the blind and rescuing Yiddishkeit in Soviet Russia. So thank you for having this event in his honor.
Okay, thank you so much. And again, I don't have enough words for what you're doing, what you did till now, and what you're doing here. I'm sure that the Ribnitzer Rebbe is going to reward you. I appreciate what you did, and the schus for all that what you did to make this a success, the hard work and labor you put in there. This is something which is going to be rewarded ever after.
Toda Rabba.
Yeah. I mean, she's the main organizer. Whatever you see here, it's her work.
Rabbi Lehrfield knows. He's another one of my mentors.
Yeah.
Rami Cohn is a hero. He is a legend in our lifetime. From a young age fighting against the Nazis, surviving. How he came to America and built this and his home in Borough Park and another 500,000 homes, I don't know. The amount of charity that he has given is literally mind-boggling. The amount of babies he has been a mo'el for, and he has taught countless mo'elim. He has become, in his short lifetime so far, a legend. And he should continue, and everyone should know what this young man has accomplished is simply incredible. Thank you.
Rabbi, thank you very much. You're going to make me Adil Balgavi, you know?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate very much what you said. Thank you.
Oh, how are you? Thank you.
Squeeze in together a little bit closer. Squeeze in, squeeze in.
Oh. My stomach can't squeeze, man.
Beautiful. You guys look great.
Thank
Want
you.
to say a few words?
Yeah, of course. Can I say that's your recording? So I'm Zevi Muller. I have the schus to be a nephew of Uncle Romi. This is a beautiful event. I know Uncle Romi worked very hard on this sefer. I've read it actually from the beginning to end in the Hebrew version, and I can't wait to read the English version. I know it's going to be a huge Kiddush Hashem and something that everyone should read. Mazel tov.
Okay, thank you very much, Zevi. Thank you. So nice to have you.
Thank you.
Was wünscht man nun? Kaddish Shem Shamayim.
Thank you so much.
Esther.
Esther here. Hello, Esther. Very nice. So nice. She's my neighbor next door.
Yes. Here's Rabbi Cohen, my best neighbor. Grew up to be his neighbor since I'm a child. And Baruch Hashem, I'm happy to be here today. Be Mekadosh Shem Shamayim. He was a very, very close person to the Ribnitzer Rebbe. And he gave out a book today. And he should be Mekadosh Shem Shamayim. He always was. And the book should be bring a lot of Shem Shamayim. Kiddush Hashem.
Okay, thank you very much. Beautiful. Anyway, I appreciate you very much for coming. You also, the ladies.
Malki from alternate staffing.
Oh, Malki, how are you? You, Malki. Oh.
Very happy to see you finally.
Very nice. She's a tzedekes, you know?
Tzedekes, ja.
A richtige tzedekes, ja.
Ich zeg je, dat is vriend Schiel.
Wat?
Ich zeg je, dat is vriend Schiel.
Ja, danke.
Ja, ja, 10 of 7 million.
Die lacht maar schuiven?
Ja, je bloest dat hij...
Thank you very much. Have you met my wife? Have you seen her?
Where's she inside?
Okay, yeah, she's inside. Okay, let me introduce you to her.
Pluralistic Parliament, I was to help. Gesinterheit. Amen.
Hashem treffst uns an, gibt es und uns treffen alles mal freilich Herzen.
Du weißt, dass die Scholen, was wurden behindert Scholen, ja? Die 3.000, 2.500. Ich gesehen, das ist eine Sache.
Hättest du gemacht, der Reprint auch?
Ja, man hat schon am Reprint, ja.
Das kriegst du mir eben so mal gesagt, aber geht der Bruch.
Judy, welcome. I see you made it.
Zoy gezan lekad Shem Shamayim.
Amen. Willst du ein paar Werte?
Zog. Was soll ich sagen? Also wie das jetzt gesagt, das geht gesagt. Zoy gezan lekad Shem Shamayim sein. Die ganze Welt soll wissen, dass du ein Gott auf der Welt. Ich meine nur, aber warum wir noch eine Sache gesinnte lange Jahren, sag mehr, wie viel wir kennen sich recht noch der Halbschäfer soll kennen wir fallen. Also wie hat gesagt, alles geht, es soll umkommen, es ist ganz klar, ist rund für die ganze Welt.
I want to introduce you to the real father of the book from the Ribnitzer Rebbe. He's the one who put down the stories, dictated, wrote them down, he edited them, and he made the book. So the bigger thank you, the bigger score comes for the actual father of the book of the Ribnitzer Rebbe.
Shkoich Reb Avrohom, es ist von mir Akuva, den Azchia nach Shivas, die alle Juren sich zu bekennen mit euch. Und sie kennen die zusammen als eine scheine Arbeit, vereibigen dem heiligen Namen von dem Ribnitzer Rebbe. Mechabde Bechayim, mit der so stark, na so getrei, badien dem Rebbe. Ugewart du, wenn gekommen du kann Amerika, und alle Juren, der Rebbe hat sich ausgedrückt auf euch, aber warum ist nicht mein bester, guter Freund? Kachuset hat nicht gesucht, weil ein Freund ist ein höherer Level von Kachuset. Da ist es helfen, also wird solche gewesen. Wir haben zusammen dem Rebbe Bechaya, wir sind hier im Mechaber und Bemäuser, durch dem was tausende Jiden in der ganzen Welt leinen und weißen Herren von Rebbe sich hießen, da war der Meigen sein. Und gewünscht wir mit allen guten Bruches, Azisiu, Raschnaz, Gile, wie Yeshia, Ksivach, Sie mit Teuwe. Ständig kennen sich mit Verein zusammen. Schkoich.
A größer Schkoich. Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
But before we find a place, we wanted to say hello to you and show you that we're here.
I want to introduce you my dear sister-in-law, Malki Cohn, and I would like to give you the microphone.
I'd like to say in the name of our family, Romi, you never cease to amaze us. You go from one project to project to project. You should go Michael, and the Eibe should continue to give you koiches, Gesundheit, bis 120, with your home Mishpuche, Malvin, Gesundheit, and you should be able to continue your projects, Gesundheit, Ksiva Chasime Teuve, which will be Zoiche, Ossipon, Osbeten, alles geht. Shkoyach for having us.
Thank you for coming.
We're so happy
So make
to be
yourself
here.
comfortable,
Yes,
especially you saw the table. You saw the table.
Yes, we saw it. Thank you.
Hey, how are you?
you?
So nice to see you. Oh, it's not a pleasure.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
What's your name?
Joseph.
Huh?
Joseph. Joseph.
Joseph.
Yeah.
My name is Romi Cohn.
You met him when he was shorter. He's grown.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Anyway,
much.
I thank you very much for coming. We appreciate it very, very much. And I would like to say a few words for the...
Absolutely. Well, all I can say is I'm in the presence of a blessed man, someone who has taught me more in the short time that I've known him than I've learned from any other teacher. So when I say the word rabbi, teacher, I mean it from my heart. He's lived to protect the rule of law, others, strangers, and if you look in this room, you'll see people who are from everywhere, and then he wants to bring us together and carry out his mission, which is the mission of truth, and truth will always prevail, and Rabbi Cohn is the master of that. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
Joseph, you're lucky. This is history coming
Can I have
today.
you guys in for a picture really quick? Thank you so much.
I want to thank you very, very much for coming, and I appreciate it very much, and I feel that I have a real friend in you. And may God bless you with all the blessings, you and your family, forever after.
Thank you, Rabbi.
1 second, let me get this. Thank you.
That's history.
How's everything? Can we have you guys for a picture for a second? Thank you so much. Everybody look here. Big smile. One, take it one. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, boys. Let's go.
Should we do
Okay, happy to see you. So have a good bench to your.
Amen.
See that to see met and all the best. Should be good then.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
They're beautiful. Beautiful.
Malvin, Malkele, it gives me a great, great pleasure to have you here as a guest of honor. All the people that came here, they came in to give you honor. Because you should be healthy, like you used to be before. Get out of bed and come here and take care of the house and to take care of me, and very soon. And
that means.
And I thank the Ribnitzer Shalom Hashem, you know, that you made it here and should come here more often. All the best.
Guys, look at this camera, then we'll look at that camera. 1 second. Oh, can you step back for 1 second? Perfect. Thank you. Actually, yeah, even better. Over here, big smile.
Rabbi Avrohom, I just want to wish you a mazel tov on the new book. Continue to do all the great work that you do. And we look forward to only a good new year, B'ezrat Hashem, coming up. And your wife should be out and healthy. It's so nice to see her here today. She always supported you throughout all the years with all the wonderful, wonderful work that you do for all of Klal Yisrael. Skila mitzvot and skushim rabot. Good things.
Thank you, Maurice.
cantor.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, came rough through the night, that our flag was still there. All saying us that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Public God, dismissed. Chief Woods is there. Commander Grinsky, please return to the stage. Two more seats. Muller, would you Gott gebenchte Stimme Yashikoye for the national anthem? Those who find the difficulty standing may seat. We're going to call upon the cantor to sing Ani Mamin and the Partisans hymn. Cantor, please.
Ani Mamin, Ani Mamin, Ani Mamin, Be'emuno Shelemo, Be'vias HaMoshiach, Be'vias HaMoshiach, Ani Mamin, V'yafal pi she'yismameya, im kol ze ani mamin. Ani mamin, ani mamin, ani mamin.
shirt and the white hair and the sunglasses. That's Jim. Muller will be doing the Hymn of the Partisans. Again, the buffet is open. Please eat. We encourage you to eat to enjoy yourself. Food is meant to be eaten, Rabbi Cohen told me, not to be seen. So please enjoy. It gives me great pleasure to call upon my personal rabbi, my dear friend, who I look up to as a mentor, as a leader, a great pillar of the Staten Island Jewish community, Rabbi Yaakov Learfield, Senior Rabbi of Young Israel of Staten Island, to make a blessing. Rabbi Learfield, please.
It says over here, Rabbi Yaakov Learfield to give the blessing. I can't begin to understand what that's talking about. On the food you're eating, I hope and pray you all made a blessing. I'm going to give a blessing. I'm going to give a blessing to you, to your lovely Rebbitzin. What are you thinking? I can't begin to understand. The Satmar Rebbe, in his younger years after the war, he went to Eretz Yisrael to see some of the Hasidim. And he was leaving. He was coming home to Williamsburg, where he was planning and beginning to bring fruit to his Kehillah in America. So the Hasidim in Eretz Yisrael said to the Satmar Rebbe, you can't leave us. How could you leave? So the Satmar Rebbe called over a Jew, where they were, the numbers were on his arm, which means he went to Auschwitz. And the Satmar Rebbe says, I'm going to give you a bracha. Any Jew that survived the Holocaust and is Shomer Shabbos and puts on tefillin and lights candles, why do you need me to give a bracha? They can give a bracha as good, if not better, than I could. Rabbi Cohen, Rebbitzin Cohen, what these two have accomplished in their life, read the book, The Youngest Partisan, read what they have done, read what they have accomplished with everything that they have done. These hands, can I have a hand? How many bris milas have you done? 35,000 bris milas, which means, by the way, he doesn't take money. He is one of the best. You speak about gold in a hint. To use him as a mole on your child, you are literally bringing the bracha that you can't even imagine. What he has built with his hands, not just with bris milah, but what he has given, what he has put, what he has done. When I was younger, we spoke about the Ribnitzer Rebbe, and we all were in awe. You need a bracha? Someone can't see, someone can't hear, someone has cancer. And they went to the Rebbe. Just to get a word of bracha from the Rebbe was unbelievable. And we have a book. Rabbi Rami Cohen now wrote a book about the Ribnitzer. I will tell everyone in this room. The Ribnitzer is not here. You want a bracha? You see these two people over here? You want a bracha? For me to say I'm giving a bracha? These two people here, with their hand, with their mouth, with their eyes, with their ears, you want a bracha. You go to these two people over here, and I guarantee HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be listening, because these two people are not just gebenched. They're not just with mazel. They literally are pillars of Yiddishkeit for hundreds of thousands of Yiddim. And from ashes to renewal to what you have accomplished, these hent are golden a hent, which means golden hands. You want a bracha? These are the two.
Thank you, Rabbi Learfield. Thank you, Rabbi. Still the best in the borough. Commissioner Castelli, on the stage, please. Are you here? I thought I saw you before, representing the mayor's office. Okay, before we go further, we call upon the professors. I'd like to introduce the dais we have with us today. We're starting with my left, moving down to the right. Rabbi Goldberg, Rabbi Kaufman, Commander Charles Greinke from the Jewish War Vets. Professor Leonard Ciaccio from the College of Staten Island. Rabbi Avrohom Cohn. Mrs. Malvina Cohen, you should have a perfect refuah shalema for what you have done for the Rebbe. I'm petrified today. I'm not stranger to a microphone, but I feel something special today. And that feeling, everybody refuah shalema. You make it here gesund, stay gesund, become more gesund. My dear friend Eileen Ciaccio, who I tortured for several hours in this wonderful journal, who put it together, thank you. Professor Laurie Weintraub. The professor is important because the rabbi mentioned the Holocaust. General Eisenhower was discussing with Commander Greinke when he entered Dachau, ordered the American army to videotape the atrocities because he predicted there would be a day when Upleiken will deny what happened. And Professor Weintraub has a big merit, a big mitzvah to perpetuate the Holocaust. He does it through Wagner College, does it through the Advance. God bless you for those efforts and continue and do even more. My dear friend, a friend of all of Staten Island, who works 24/7, has no vacation. I text him 3 in the morning, I wonder when this man sleeps. Chief Kevin Woods, the chief of the fire department of the borough. And my dear colleague, Angela Olson, who's from the JCC, representing the JCC, and Assembly member Maliatakis, who's with the Assembly and Senate delegation, Ireland. We lost them today. I hope they have a good time in Ireland, but tell them they missed a better luncheon today with better food and better drink. They should know. Assemblyman Charles Fall, please approach. I'm going to call soon on the Assemblyman to speak, but in the spirit of perpetuating the Holocaust, the Jewish community does not have a better friend than Charles Fall. We stood at the steps of the Albanian Cultural Center. We stood at the steps of Borough Hall. We shall overcome bigotry. We are not afraid. Deep in our hearts, do we believe, as Dr. King would say, when decent people lock hands together, and there really is a Lord in heaven, as the Ribnitzer Rebbe taught us. We'll discuss this soon more in detail. We will overcome, because every human being is created in the image of God. And each time there was a graffiti incident in the borough, anti-Semitic in the borough, or any phobic attack in the borough, the first one to call me was Charles Fall. Thank you, Charles. Have a seat on the dais, sir. Seat on the dais. After the professors, you'll be up. With great pleasure, I'm going in the order I was given to me over here because I want to pass law school. I don't want to fail and go back again. So it says Professor Weintraub and then Professor Ciaccio. Professor Weintraub, please.
Shalom. It is a great honor today to be asked by Rabbi Cohn to introduce his most recent book. As a professor of history and director of the Holocaust Center at Wagner College, where I've been for 24 years teaching about the Holocaust, Jewish history, global history, I've had the privilege to deeply study the tragic, courageous, and inspiring stories of Holocaust survivors and resistors, including Rabbi Cohn. I've been able to work collaboratively on a New York Emmy Award-winning film about the life of Rabbi Cohn and a play where my students memorize his exact words of testimony. Moreover, I've had the honor to bestow on Rabbi Cohn the title of doctor from Wagner College at the request of the president of Wagner College a few years ago when he spoke brilliantly to our undergraduates so that they too could hear from a Holocaust survivor. I think the clue for why Rabbi Cohn has asked me, when there's so many others in this room who could speak perhaps more spiritually about the Ribnitzer Rebbe, is the title, the subtitle, on the venerable tzaddik and mystical miracle worker in our generation. As a historian of Nazi Europe, I emphasize how important it is now, this book, for our generation. As Rabbi Cohn has often said, things can change quickly. And in the face of a rising global and local anti-Semitism, even here on Staten Island, of synagogue shootings, the march in Charlottesville, and over 100 hate crimes in 2019 in New York City alone, we must all seek to carry on the legacy of Rabbi Chaim Zanvil Abramovitz, born 120 years ago in the vibrant pre-World War II Hasidic and Jewish world, a culture nearly destroyed by the Holocaust, and a culture that in both his first and second book, Rabbi Cohn has now brought back to life, just as he did when he dedicated the Sefer Torah signed by the Ribnitzer Rebbe in the streets of Borough Park, bringing the spirit of Pressburg to Brooklyn, New York, many generations, many decades later, and despite the odds. Rabbi Cohn opens his book by showing how the Ribnitzer Rebbe has inherited his emunat tzadikim from his father, Rav Moshe, from his mother, Yudah Zipporah, a descendant of Rabbi Adam Bel Shem, and from his first Rebbe. He never lets us forget how the Ribnitzer Rebbe is the embodiment of purity and compassion and Ahavat Yisrael, Ahavat Hashem. As in the passage from the Ashrei prayer, V'rakamanav al kol ma'asav, and his compassion is upon all creatures. Dr. Rabbi Cohn's book bears witness to the miracles the Ribnitzer Rebbe has performed, his compassion and his holiness for both Jews and non-Jews on 3 continents, including in Nazi-occupied Romania, Serbia, in the repressive Soviet Union through the 1970s, one of the last rabbis to leave, in Israel, and in many, many parts of the United States. These miracles take place in hospitals, in courts of law, on highways, in the streets, in forests during thunderstorms, and in homes, all at great risk. Indeed, all through the Soviet era, the Ribnitzer Rebbe risked his life to fulfill the Torah and its commandments, to disseminate Yiddishkeit, to encourage others as a shochet, butchering kosher meat, as a mohel, performing circumcisions, and as a teacher. Let's put this down. I have 3 stories from the book that I want to share. In the first, a Soviet prosecutor had a mountain of evidence that the Rebbe had violated many laws in the Soviet Union. But ultimately, a judge who was not Jewish exonerated him, saying, quote, although deserving of death, the defendant once risked his life to benefit the regime. This was when the Nazis stormed Ribnitz and a loyal Russian partisan fought a bloody battle against the Nazis. Late one night, a partisan knocked on the Rebbe's door, reporting that they were starving to death. But it was too dangerous to go out in the Nazi-infested streets. Not for the Rebbe. He said, "As a Mensch darf üben zu essen, darf men geben." If a person needs to eat, we must give him. The Rebbe collected scraps of food, knocking door to door. And so this non-Jewish Soviet judge, who had been witness to the heroism of the Rebbe, repaid him by freeing him from certain death. A second, one of the miracles in the book that particularly touched me is about one of the Brit Milah. As you know, the Brit Milah is a tradition that links Rabbi Cohn and the Ribnitzer Rebbe. It took place in Florida when one of the Rebbe's students had an infant so ill he needed for the Ribnitzer Rebbe to bless him. It wasn't even clear that a bris could be done. And yet the Rebbe did so and uttered the words, "He shall study the Torah and see its meaning." Although the doctors had no hope for the parents, within a few weeks, the child had returned to New York, and it had come true that his eyes could follow the finger of Rabbi Cohn. This is one of the many demonstrations how faith and prayer offers hope. And so we get to perhaps the best-known story of the Ribnitzer Rebbe in Nazi Germany and Moldova, when the Gestapo, along with local collaborators, rounded up the Jews and marched them to the forest. Recognizing the violence that was about to incur, the Rebbe summed up his courage and approached the Nazi commander. Head high, he asked the commander for a final wish before execution. "May we have 10 minutes to pray?" Surprised by his audacity, the Nazi officer agreed, and the Rebbe turned to his terrified Jewish brethren to daven together. The voices of the innocent rose to heaven, and at that moment, a convoy of German soldiers passed by and saw the pandemonium. A senior German officer demanded to know what was going on, to which the platoon officer replied, "We are about to exterminate this Jewish scum." No one knew what passed through the general's mind, but he abruptly ordered that the Jews be free. And so, Baruch Hashem, all of them returned safely that day. And so the fearless devotion of the Rebbe as a role model of the power of faith, that it provides us to stand up despite our fears. One of the most famous Talmudic stories involves Rabbi and Sage Hillel, who sums up the Torah with the phrase, "Love your neighbor as yourself." And almost exactly at the center of the book, I found a phrase that I think sums up this book. It is the concluding words of a chapter where the Ribnitzer Rebbe foresees and reassures a Jew accused of arson, falsely accused. He tells him, "Today the judge will dismiss your case." And sure enough, although his own lawyers and the judge doubt when he says so, it is revealed by a non-Jewish witness that the complaint was coerced and false. And the final words of this chapter are, "The world must know that God is in charge." We all have had moments in our lives where we know that this is true. And we thank Rabbi Cohn for reminding us in this book, the world must know that God is in charge. And I'll just say that this particularly resonated for me because my father, who is here, and who was in worked his whole life on the 67th floor of the World Trade Center on 9/11, was dropping off his granddaughter at school and was late that day. And he was able to survive. So we know that this is true. In my role as professor of history at Wagner College and director of the Holocaust Center, I have repeated many times the words of Elie Wiesel, "Whoever hears an eyewitness becomes an eyewitness." This book, too, testifies to the transformative power of eyewitness testimony. As we read Dr. Rabbi Romi Cohn's words, we too are transformed. Toda Rabbah. Toda Rabbah. Thank you.
And now we call upon Professor Siaccio, Leonard Siaccio from College of Staten Island. From here, wherever you want, Professor. Okay, here? You can stand there because we're here, Professor.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're all here as friends of Rami Cohen. I feel very honored to be included in this group, and thank you all, and especially thank you, Rami. When Rami asked if I would want to say a few words, of course, I knew right away I had to ask him for some advice about, well, what did you have in mind? And he looked me right in the eye and said, "Please be brief." Okay, obviously he's never sat through one of my lectures. At any rate, as I tried to prepare, I found myself with a dilemma. And the dilemma was with each point that I would think of making, I soon had 2 or 3 subpoints about what I needed to say about Rami Cohen. We moved into one of Rami's houses 40 years ago. So I've known Rami for those 40 years, and I have lots of stories. Okay, but I also know that Rami Cohen is a very modest man. I've seen people walk up to him with praise, and you can see that he's not really into being praised. So this really makes a very important statement. A group of people who also have something in common. We know the virtues, the honesty, the goodness of Romi Cohn. We all have our stories. Our lives have been defined by stories of Romi Cohn and how he has helped us and moved us in our lives. We know, for instance, through his book, The Youngest Partisan, we know of a child, literally, rising up with courage to confront the worst evil, the evil racking his land, attacking his family, attacking everyone he knows. We know that story. We know that man because we all have lived near that man and watched him in everyday life. In a true sense, Romi Cohn has given us this vision of how to live. Okay, and in Rami's first book, towards the end, along with all of the wonderful stories, there's one question that just grabbed my attention when he said it the first time. He asked, why was I chosen to survive? Okay, and of course we know that answer. We know he was chosen to survive to save people. We know he was chosen to survive to honor his magnificent wife, Malvine. We know he was chosen to give examples to all of our children, to us and to all of our children. We know that he was chosen because his tradition that he honors goes all the way back, right, to the time of Moses, to Aaron, and lives through his witness, through the book, The Youngest Partisans. And now, specifically today, we celebrate, if you like, the second level of that journey of Rami's life, and that is the witness of this magnificent holy man and the insights that Rami's association with the Ribnitzer Rebbe represented. Right? Rami's second book, when you read it, will amaze you because Romi tells a story about things that he saw, that he was personally involved in. But as you read it, you will get this sense that through the journey, through this association with the Ribnitzer Rebbe, Romi has been thoughtful, thinking about what does it all mean? What does all of this mean? And he shares that. We can actually see how that experience has affected Romi. You can see this in the book, okay? And in fact, Romi's experience in the book, the teachings of the Ribnitzer Rebbe, really present a way to live your life, okay? And it's clear that that's where the strength that we associate with Romi Cohn, the strength that shines through in the young partisan, that comes from faith, that comes from knowing how to be patient, how to love, how to give, how to risk everything in service of the right thing. Can this all come at a more perfect time in our society that we need to remember all of these things? How to be really good people. And I thank you for all coming to hear this and hopefully taking what we all know from Romi Cohn so that there can be a better blessing for our children, for our grandchildren, for the entire world. Okay, thank you so much. And I have one more little thing. In attempting to honor Rami's request that I be brief, I really considered that I really needed only to say one little phrase. The little phrase is, and I say this for all of us, thank you, Romi Cohn, thank you, Malvine, for giving us so much.
Thank you, Professor. Before we go further, I want to recognize some of our honored guests that we have with us today. We have Rabbi Weisfeld from the Borough Park Center. We have Rabbi David Kast from the Rabbinical Alliance. The bagpipers, as mentioned before, all police officers, uniformed service people. Stephen Crockett, Chris Zalisky, Robert Conwell, and Thomas Roster. Let's have a hand for them. Also, we are joined on the dais by Commissioner John Castelli from Oaths from the city of New York. The mayor regrets he was unable to attend, but he's asked his commissioner to read the letter that he's written for the occasion. Commissioner Castelli, please.
Thank you, Mendy. I'm going to read this letter on behalf of Mayor Bill de Blasio. And it says, it's dated September 22nd of 2019, and it says, "Dear friends, it is a great pleasure to welcome everyone to the book signing ceremony for Mr. Romi Cohn's new book, The Ribnitzer Rebbe. The written word is one of the most powerful tools at our disposal to prevent horrors like the Holocaust from ever occurring again. We rely on courageous individuals like Mr. Cohn to recount their experiences so that others may be inspired by the stories of commitment to faith and the display of resilience in the face of tragedy. As mayor of the largest urban Jewish community outside of Israel, I am immensely grateful to Mr. Cohn for his dedication in aiding his fellow Jews in the aftermath of World War II, and for sharing his memories with us so that we might learn from his example and work to build a better and brighter future for all. On behalf of the City of New York, congratulations to Mr. Cohn for his many accomplishments. Please accept my best wishes for a wonderful ceremony. Sincerely, Bill de Blasio, Mayor."
Thank you, Commissioner Castelli. I'll pick it up. No harm, no foul. Now we call upon the great Assemblyman, Assemblyman Charles Falls. Want to speak from here? Come, Assemblyman. Rabbi Cohen, come for a picture. We didn't catch him before downstairs. Let me take a picture with him. Photographer ready? Move him to the center. Come around and give a picture with the Assemblyman. Do it from the stage. Okay, thank you.
Can we all come on an angle first? Angle? Come on an angle, you said? Thank you, Mendy. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a really big honor. I'm really happy to be here to celebrate this book launching, because it's very important, to hear these inspiring stories, especially when you think about how hate crimes have gone up in so many communities, that we send a message, and this is the message that Mendy mentioned earlier. Every time there is any issues in the Jewish community, the Muslims communities, it's very important that we come together as a community to condemn it together. Hate toward one group is hate toward all groups, right? And I think that's kind of the message that we do see here in this book, and that's why I'm really honored to support this effort. And if there's any way, I always mention just Mendy, any way I could be helpful to the Jewish community, I am a friend, and I want to do more. Thank you so much. God bless.
I'm going to ask the same question, but I asked the chief. 1 o'clock in the morning, he'll text me, are the cops out there doing the job? When do you sleep? We know when you eat, because you're eating today, but when do you sleep?
That's a good question, right?
We thank you for your help. We thank you for your friendship.
Thank you.
Especially with young kids. The professor's right about that. Angela, want to speak from here or want to stand? Want to read the letter? It's your call.
I'll read the letter.
We're going to ask Angela Olson, representing Assemblywoman Nicole Maliatakis, to read the letter that she presented for the occasion. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you, Mendy. I'm just going to preface this, but Assemblywoman Nicole Maliatakis texted me early this morning to make sure that I'd be representing her at this event, and I'm so honored to do that, to be here with you, all of you. And she also had the pleasure this past summer to visit the wall and spend time in Israel to understand the culture and understand how to represent her community in the Orthodox, in her assembly district and all the Orthodox communities in New York, especially with everything that's going on. So all that being said, I will read her letter. Mr. Romi Cohn, I want to extend my sincere congratulations to you on the publishing of your new book, The Ribnitzer Rebbe. The Rebbe is a wonderful written book that is truly excellent, living tribute to the victims and survivors of World War II and the Holocaust. This summer, I had the pleasure and honor to visit Israel. While visiting that beautiful ancient land, I had the great joy of seeing many historic and holy sites, including the Western Wall, the Jewish Quarter, and the new U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem. Yet, the most impactful place I was able to visit was Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Remembrance Center. Yad Vashem was certainly not an easy place to visit. The chilling silence, the depth of emotion, and the stirring hall of remembrance make it an emotional, challenging visit. But it is those emotions that cling to you and make you realize what an important memorial Yad Vashem is. Yad Vashem shows the unbelievable suffering of the Jewish people at the hands of the Nazis. It underscores the fate and determination of those who, like Rabbi Chaim Novel Abramowitz, escaped the final solution and went to build the democracy we all know as Israel. It brought new meaning to the words, quote, never again, and left a permanent mark on my conscience. That was, as Americans must be at the forefront of fight against anti-Semitism. Whether it is the rise in anti-Semitic hate crimes on the streets of New York City, the boycott, the divestment and sanction movements aimed at destabilizing Israel, or the actions and words of anti-Israel elected politicians on the floor of Congress. One thing remains crystal clear. As freedom-loving Americans, we must stand tall, shoulder to shoulder with Jewish people. Stories like the one that Rabbi Abramowitz need to be shared and should serve to inspire us to preserve through these troubled times with sincere faith and hope. Now, in the time of truly never again, now is the time to amplify and share those stories like that of the Ribnitzer Rebbe. Now is time to preserve the faith. Thank you to your book, Mr. Cohen. I believe more people will be inspired to stand up to hate and hold fate onto themselves. Congratulations on the publishing of your new book, and I wish the utmost success in all of your future endeavors. Sincerely, Assemblywoman Nicole Maliotakis.
Thank you. Thank you, Angela. I also want to recognize a couple other dignitaries in the room, Mr. Jim Kelly from the Richmond Foundation, Mr. Steve Clinton, and who else did I miss? And I didn't mention the Jewish war vets, besides Commander Gryansky, Andrew and Neil Schimler. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, we're going to call upon our fire chief. We have Chief Kevin Woods with us. Say a few words. From there, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sure I don't knock anything over. Thank you. There we go. That's good. Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Kevin Woods. I am the Staten Island Borough Commander for the FDMY. The FDMY has a great friendship and a great partnership with the Jewish community. Thank you for the invite, Mr. Cohn, Rabbi Cohn. I did watch a few video clips of you describing your experience as a partisan during World War II. You are truly an inspiration to all of us, especially with your bravery and courage. The FDMY loves bravery and courage. You never gave up on that rebuilding process. Faith and strength kept you moving forward, as we shall all follow your lead. God bless you as you are passing on a strong message to educate future generations with your writings. Of course, I have seen documentaries and have read about the Holocaust, but I will not pretend to be an expert. But I can compare similarities from the FDMY and 9/11. 11 days ago, we continued to have ceremonies honoring not only our 343 FDMY members that made the supreme sacrifice 18 years ago, but all that died on that day. We will never forget. It's a slogan we love to use in the FDMY. You have heard it spoken many times. You have seen it posted many times, but it does not have any substance. It does not have any meaning unless we act on those words. And that is what we do, taking action by remembering our fallen heroes and honoring them forever. That is what Mr. Cohn is doing, writing about his experience so others never forget. It has been 18 years since our country was attacked on 9/11 at the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and Shanksville, Pennsylvania. But make no mistake about it, every American was attacked on 9/11/2001. The enemy tried to take away our freedom and our way of life. Sound familiar? But our resiliency and our patriotism as a country, as a city, and as a community bonded us even stronger. Today, we are here as a community. Our members in the FDMY are very special. They continue to work past that point where they could have retired. They risked their lives to save others, similar to Mr. Cohn's life story. Firefighters always want to do the right thing. They are extremely motivated and loyal. In comparison, Mr. Cohn is extremely motivated and loyal, especially when he was fighting as a partisan and afterwards with his writings. Most of our current members were not on the job in 2001. They continue with these great traditions, and in a few years we'll have members of the FDMY, the NYPD, and the military that were not born in 2001. And that is where we come into play, all of us, to remind everyone what happened 18 years ago and to never forget, and also what happened during World War II. Mr. Cohn continues to educate the world about the atrocities of the Holocaust in his writings, especially the newer generations that are not educated on the subject. You will never forget. We will never forget. I wish everyone the best with the upcoming High Holy Days starting next Sunday with Rosh Hashanah. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Woods. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words. Also want to recognize the Rosh Hashiva, Rav Geltsaler, and my dear colleague, past president and current vice president of the Staten Island trial lawyers, Mr. Charles DeFestano. Charles, please come up and say a few words. I told you I'm going to get you.
Thank you all. I say this with great humility. I'm so honored to be here today to speak on behalf of the legal community, but more importantly, I'm here today because I have only two living heroes in my life. One is my father. Thank God he's still alive and healthy and shares his life with us. And Rabbi Cohn is my only living hero. And I was blessed to meet him through the intervention of Mendy Mirajnik, my dear friend. I had asked if he knew anyone in the community that could teach children, students, high school, college, and law students about someone who had a direct impact on the rule of law and the preservation of what we call the rule of law. I've only read about people like Rabbi Cohn in history books. I've only seen in newspapers people who have been able to literally put their lives at risk for us. So that makes this an ever special blessing for me to actually be here with him. We've heard of Martin Luther King and Harriet Tubman and Mahatma Gandhi. I put Rabbi Cohn in the same class of those people. If you look around, you'll notice that some of us, we all look different, but we're all the same. We all have the same essence. We all have the same soul. And that is Rami Cohn's mission, to bring us together, because we all live for one thing, which is truth. We all live for the truth, and we all have to sacrifice. So, Rabbi Cohn, I thank you again for the invitation to this special ceremony, and I hope you continue to teach as rabbi to all of us what it means to be a true man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Charles, come back one more shot. Okay. We're going to call upon Commander Charles Grainsky to say a few words. Commander Grainsky.
Certainly it's a pleasure to be here to honor the Rebbe and the Rebbe's sin. You want to make two points that are a little bit off, but they're not off. First is the Jewish war vets are the oldest veterans organization chartered by Congress in 1896 to disprove the rumors that Jews didn't serve in the military. And I could tell you, on my mother's side, they fought on both sides because some lived in Mississippi and others lived in Colorado. So that's one myth, that the Jews don't fight. The other, if you Google the New York Post today and Google the number 88, do people here know what 88 stands for? Okay. The 8th letter of the alphabet is H. And if you look at any of these neo-Nazis, any of these white supremacist lowlifes, they all have tattoos, 88. Just Google 88. That's the first thing that appears. It appeared on my synagogue wall 11 years ago. And I have a piece that's online in the Post about it today because the FCC wants to change the suicide hotline, and rightfully so, from a 10-digit number that means nothing to a 3-digit number, 988. And I told them, I've written to them, to Schumer, and to Rose, don't pick 88, pick 777, pick anything, but be aware of our community and what HH stands for. It is bad. And this is why we need to have people like the rabbi to retell the story of a generation ago, and we still have young men serving in the military that we support from the Jewish war vets for the holidays that are still serving. So thank you, Rabbi, for bringing this again to the attention of the public. It needs it more and more. And Mendy, thank you for having such love for veterans.
Thank you. Charlie, and I publicly said it, I'll say it again. If it wasn't for the veterans fighting, the rule of law wouldn't survive today. The flag stands here thanks to the veterans. Another round of applause for the veterans. I want to say a quick Dvar Torah in honor of the occasion. In yesterday's Parsha, in yesterday's Torah reading, in chapter 25, verse 10, 28, verse 10, Chuf Ches Yud, the Torah Kedosha says, V'ra'u kol amei haaretz, kishem Hashem, that all the nations of the world will see that the word of Hashem, Nikra, is written on you. The obvious question, what does it mean that the nations of the world will see that the word of God is written upon the Jewish people? So the R Avrohom Cohn explains that tefillin, phylacteries, what the Jewish male wears every day, has God's name on it. But the question comes, we take the phylacteries off. We put them away. So how will the phylacteries help us be an or la'amim, an illumination to the world? So the Levi Yitzchak Mi Bardishev explains, It doesn't mean the actual tefillin you're wearing. It's when you inculcate the lessons of the tefillin into your head. So when the people look at you, the teachings of the Bible, the teachings of the Torah, the teachings of the Talmud become you. When you become a walking example of what a person is supposed to be, what a Jew is supposed to be a good American means to be a good Jew. It means you have to have faith and you have to observe, you have to believe. And believe in the country and respect the country. When you become a God-fearing person like a Rami Cohen or Rabbi Cohen, you will influence others. However, I believe in unity. It's a Hasidic Vart from Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Mibarditchev. But a story is told also from the Vilna Gaon, the Gaon of Vilna, who was a big misnagid, a great Gogol B'Yisrael. And the story went, he was in a Kretschmer once in Lita. And there's a little shtibel, a little room in this inn. And this inn was meant for the Tsar, or the big parrots. Parrots mean the landowner. Well, the Tsar would come, it was their room. And he was warned by the Tsar, when I come, it's my room, but Moshka, if you find over there anybody in that room, I will kill him and I will flog you as a punishment. The Vilna Gaon came, and for some reason he saw that room, he wanted the room. And the innkeeper went, Rebbe, I can't give you that room. Forget me getting flogged, I could take the beating, maybe survive. He's going to kill you. The Tsar's going to kill you, catches you in the room. I want the room. No, what could the innkeeper do? He couldn't fight with him. The Vilna Gaon was in the room, and the innkeeper was trembling. It was which not happen. The next morning, he hears the entourage coming. It was the Tsar showing up. Oy vey, what am I going to do now? He's going to kill the goon. Goon means the genius of Vilna. And what happened was, as the Tsar opened the door, he took a step back. And he said, Parrots, move on. Moshka, have a good day. It's okay. So the innkeeper asked him, Rebbe, how was it possible that the Tsar, he's a tough guy, could walk in, take one look at you and leave, spare your life and spare flogging me? What's going on over here, Rebbe? Trembling. So he says that tefillin shebaraish. So whether you're a Hasidisha, whether you're a Misnagdisha, if you take the tefillin shebaraish and internalize it in yourself, like Rami Cohen has done, then you could influence, be a mashpia, and help others. This gathering today was meant in honor who I did not have the schus of meeting, but I met him through Rami Cohen of the Ribnitzer Rebbe. Professor Weintraub told the story of how the Eingraupen of the SS, Yamach Shemo, their name shouldn't be mentioned even. Who they were killing? Innocent women, children. Look around you, this is what they're killing. Cowards, men trained in combat. Forget the Geneva Convention with POWs, which Commander Grant could tell you about. Children you're killing? Babies you're killing? However, how could the Rebbe influence them? Because the SS saw, as evil as they were, the tefillin shebaraish under Rebbe, and they had to walk away. He told me a story once, Rami, that he was in a room with the Rebbe. Laura, I'm not going to steal all the stories Laurie said. And in the room there was a creature. But sometimes the creature was on the floor in the family of a rodent. And the Rebbe sat there. He didn't want to kill the rodent. He went to Rabbi Cohen, if I'm not mistaken. It's a living being. The Lord created a living being. How can we extinguish it? We have to study the purpose of a cockroach, a bug, a pest. Why did God create it? It wasn't to make people feel disgusted. It serves a good purpose. What is the purpose? And the course of that conversation, Rabbi Cohen was discussing more serious matters. What it shows you is the character of the person. If you have tefillin shebaraish on you and you believe in a higher being, in a Lord, there's faith. How could one kill somebody? How could one kill an animal? How could one have cruelty? In the midst of crisis, he saw the trees with the forest. Not just the bigger picture, but the smaller details. So with this, I want to thank Rabbi Cohen for giving me this chus. In honor of this chus, your wife, the Rebbe, should have a perfect refuah shalema. You should have a refuah shalema. Whoever is healthy should be healthier. Whoever needs to be gesund should become gesund. because it's important to be a mashpia, to influence people. Even though I didn't have the schus of meeting the Rebbe directly, I met him through the Talmud. I'll conclude like this. In Judaism, we don't say somebody's a scholar. I told to Professor Gershkin before, thank you for coming, I met your wife and she fits, Esther fits, Blessed Mary fits this description. In America, we say a scholar. In England, a Rhodes Scholar, a Harvard Scholar, a Staten Island Scholar. But in Judaism, a scholar is called a Talmud Chacham. It could have been Chacham Professor. It could have been Chacham, Mr. Commissioner and Rabbi. But why is it called a Talmud Chacham? Talmud literally means a student. Rabbi studied the Talmud, the Gemara, was starting to be a student. A Chacham means a smart student. Because every smart student has a smart teacher, a smart rabbi, a smart rebbe, a smart professor who influences them. You two are, I meant both, I was sitting apart. A Talmud Chacham means someone who understands the ego can't get in the way. As much as I know, there's what to learn. As much as I think I comprehend, there's more to comprehend. And the biggest compliment is to be called a Talmud Chacham, not a Chacham. If you want to have an advanced society, make society better, you have to be called a Talmud Chacham, a student of a Chacham. And that's Rabbi Cohn. Thank you so much for this chus. I think we covered all the major speakers, but there are two surprises. And I know Rabbi Cohn is not looking for accolades. But as being a mashpia, we got to do it the right way. The first, I believe, is a gift of the picture of the Rebbe. And the second is a special proclamation. I know Commander Greinsky is here, but also doubles up as the senior vice president of the Council of Jewish Organizations of COJO, the central coordinating agency of the island. So first, we're going to please bring out the picture of the Rebbe, and then please bring out the proclamation. And we're going to wrap up the program on this note. Rabbanim, want to say a word? Rabbi Cass, want to say a word? Want to say a word? You can come up any from the floor. I'm serious. Zugan Epis. Want to say something? Come, Rabbi Katz. You fake the Rabbanim if they want to say something. We'll have them say it. We'll get back to think. This is Rabbi David Katz, the Menahel, the Director of Rabbinical Alliance of America, dear colleague of mine. Rav Katz, please. Will you have him? Then we get back to my Okay, go ahead.
Poitzchen b'chvoid achsanie. The Mishnah says, Kol sheruach habriyos noichaimeni, riach hamokoim noichaimenu. I think this Mishnah says, who this Balachsanie Rabbi Cohn, Avrohom Cohn, Cohen Shadata Yofa is a person that's beloved by ganz Klal Yisrael, Chasidische, Litwische, Amerikaner, Sfardim, Ashkenazim. Everybody loves Rabbi Cohn, and that shows how much the Rebbeinu Shloim, how much Hashem loves Rabbi Cohn. But there's a deeper word in Mokoim. I thought till today that Rabbi Cohn is very known in Borough Park, Williamsburg, Flatbush, but Merichik HaMokim, even in Staten Island, in different kind of places, Rabbi Cohn is very, very known and very beloved. It says by Queen Esther, by Esther Amalka, that every nation said that Esther Amalka is part of our nation. The Polish would say Esther Amalka is Polish. The Hungarians would say Esther Amalka is Hungarian. Everybody said that Esther Amalka is hers. And the same thing is by Rabbi Avrohom Cohn, the Cohen Shadata Yufa. Everybody says that Rabbi Avrohom is mine. The Hasidim say he's a Chassid. The Litvische say he's a Litvische. The Oibeleder say he's a Oibeledersche. Soll der Eibischte helfen, that beschiz is riach hamukim noichaimenu, Rabbi Avrohom should take us all a kegin riach hapeinu, Mashiach Hashem, bekorev mamish, and bizival we should be zoiche, to exir v'chasim etoive, el shnaz geula v'yeshia. We daven every morning, we say l'shmoya, we should be able to hear the Torah, lilmoy to learn the Torah, Elelamed, and to teach the Torah. How many people here are melamdim? How are we davening to be melamdim? If you will look in the book, the history of the Ribnitzer Rebbe, the Tzadik Levucha, he was a Talmud from the Stephanester Rebbe. And I will go back a generation before. There was Rav Zielson, the Rosh Yeshiva in Keshenev Yeshiva, where my grandfather was a Magachir, and my great-grandfather, Reb David Zimring, who made Sefer Mitzir Devash, and his Aguas and Gantz Shas, is in that Sefer, and they came from Keshenev Yeshiva. The Hasidische Bucherim from Keshenev Yeshiva became Hasidim from Rabbi Matasyahu, the Stephanester Rebbe. And as I said before, my great-grandfather was a Magachir for younger Bucherim, and my grandfather was the Rosh Yeshiva for all the Bucherim. So they would tease and chepper my great-grandfather, "You, Reb David, you are a Melamed." And he would say, "Yes, Baruch Hashem, I'm a Melamed." The Rebbeinu Shloilem also calls himself HaMelamed Torah Le'amo Yisrael. But getting back, why do we daven that we should be Melamdim, Lelamed? We know our most important thing in this world is to be Mechanech and to bring up great doiris, great children. And there's two ways how to be a Mechanech. One way, you learn with your son, you teach your son, you teach your daughter, you put in koiches, you put in effort that your children should grow up to be great children. And the second way is to be an example, a role model for your children. And the difference between these two ways of chinuch, while a father could work with his children, he could only do it while he is alive. But after the 120, when the father is not alive anymore, he could only use a second method of being a role model, always speaking about him. R Avrohom Cohn made today Tchias HaMesim. Tzadikim b'misosom kiriyim chayim. Today, we have the Ribnitzer Rebbe alive. You open the book, you see how a person should be betoire, beyire, b'midas toives. This is called melamed. When we daven every morning, we ask the Rebbeinu Shloilem, when I go into business, when I go to be a moyel, when I go to do whatever I do, I should be a melamed, I should be a role model. People should see that I'm a perfect person, I'm a good person, and people should learn from me. Today is a gewaldige day. Aleph Sliches, Tovshi and Ayin Tes. Aleph Sliches, Erev Rosh Hashanah, Tovshi and Pei, Haba Aleinu L'Toiva, is a day where R Avrohom Cohn brought back life to the Ribnitzer Rebbe. The Ribnitzer Rebbe could teach us once again. The Ribnitzer Rebbe will show us once again. And we will be mekasheti these tzaddikim, and this will make us better. And I'll conclude that one of our greatest melamdim in this door, in this generation, is our dear Balachsania R Avrohom, who is a role model of what means Neki Chapayim, a reine hand, never took a dollar for a bris, never came on to people, always shared with people, always gave away his last dollar to people. This is our mentor, this is our melamed, and this will take us la'ad l'netzach netzachim.
I've got to give the two awards, but then we could play the music. But, yes, I'll give you the awards and you can say something. Let's bring out the two awards, then we'll say something. The Achron Chaviv is the best. Bring out the proclamation and the picture. Please bring the picture around. This picture of the Heiliger Rebbe is presented by Rabbi Kaufman and Israel Bookshop to Rabbi Cohen. The cover picture of the book, the picture on the book.
Thank you very much appreciated, unexpected. It's very
You have the proclamation. Commander Greinsky, please do your duty now as the Vice President of COJO. And Professor Laurie, bring it closer. Maybe I'll read it quickly. Okay. We'll make it red. Proclamation. It is proclaimed by the authority vested in the Council of Jewish Organization of Staten Island as the central coordinating and resource agency of the Staten Island Jewish community to Rabbi Romi Cohn, a pillar of the Jewish community of Staten Island, in recognition of his contributions to strengthening and enriching of the Staten Island Jewish community. The proclamation goes on to read, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but testimony is recorded in the offices of Kojo. Rabbi Cohen's service during the Holocaust years, a man that was chased because he was a Jew. Look at this. This is an example of what Hitler called an enemy of the people, a man that does good. Could you imagine if the crematory in Auschwitz didn't kill all those millions of people? Perhaps the cure to cancer would have been found today. More benefits would have happened to society. What a waste. Torah scholarship, the Mikachon would have been even greater. What a waste to the world. In conclusion, in recognition of Rabbi Romi Cohen's accomplishments, he is hereby recognized as a valuable member of the Council of Jewish Organization of Staten Island and is inducted as an honorary and valuable member of the President's Advisory Committee. We affix our signature this 22nd day of the month of September in the year 2019, which happens to correspond to the Jewish calendar, 22nd day of the month of Elul, 5779. Thank you, Rabbi Cohen. This is living testimony how great the Rebbe is.
Thank you very, very much.
Rabbi Cohen will now address us.
Ladies and gentlemen, Moed Rabosai, I'm going to be very brief. I want to express my hearty, sincere appreciation for Mendy, what he did in behalf of the Ribnitzer Rebbe, and the Rebbe Schus or in Barstein should have Kita v'Choltov without any without exceptions. I would like to also thank very much Professor Dr. Lori Weintraub, which also put a lot of tremendous work and effort in here to this occasion. It should happen. And at least, and most, I would like to thank very much Professor Staccio and his wife, Eileen, where is she? Oh, he has disappeared. They worked very, very hard for editing the book, and Eileen, she made the glossary, spent days and nights to make that book should be what it is, which I appreciate, which deserves much appreciation and thanks what he did. It's a MS, really, Kiddush Hashem. I worked very hard to get that book ready. Took me years. Before I started to dictate the stories, I was hesitant because the Rebbe was always so modest. He said always, "What do you want from me? I'm nobody, I'm nothing." And I was afraid that he might not agree to have all these great things which he did to be publicized. But then I saw a story which I bring in the book, the story where they accused someone to set fire in a building in Brooklyn. There were all the evidence against that person to get at least 25 years jail. And the Rebbe intervened in his behalf, and he told them, go to the trial, and you're going to be free today. And exactly what happened when the main witness came to the witness stand and before he started to testify, he told the judge, "Judge, I would like to make an announcement, a declaration. My testimony, which I swore, it's all not true. I was paid by one of the leaders of the community to do that. In return, I'm going to get well rewarded. So I want you to know that I didn't see anything, I didn't hear anything, all the testimony is false." So of course, he was vindicated completely. Matter of fact, the judge was trying to put the man on trial for false witness, false testimony, but he said, "I'm not going to press any charges. Those people accused me," and the court applauded to him and so on, about Kiddush Hashem. So I got the book, the English translation, which is very difficult to translate from Hebrew to English because there are certain expressions and so on, and biblical quotes. It was a very difficult job, but Baruch Hashem, after a couple of years working very hard with the help of Dr. Chachio, Mrs. Chachio, and all those who helped me along, least I would like to mention we have here a gentleman who actually wrote the original book. I dictated to him the stories and to put it on paper and in words. Would you like to stand up, please? Oh, here, okay. So this is a gentleman here. It was the first time he sat down with me once a week. I told him the stories, he recorded them, put them on paper and in print. Moira Baraboisai, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, thank you very, very much for coming. The commander who took this valuable time and came here to join this occasion. And I don't want to mention names. I would like to mention one person which is very dear to me, which is, what's his name, Doctor? What's his name? Yeah. No. I spoke before. No.
The commissioner spoke.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to thank you all for taking time and coming here today, which I much appreciated. I want you to know the COVID is not mine. The honor is not mine. You came here to honor my teacher, my Rebbe, the Ribnitzer Rebbe, which he taught us the fear of God and the real fear of God. And I want to say, Baruch Shecharioni, Vekimoni, Vigioni, Lasman Azeh. English translation. In plain English, blessed are you, Hashem our God, King of the universe, who has granted us life, sustained us, and enabled us to reach this occasion. I was always praying, I'm not so young anymore, I'm past 90. I was always praying that we should have the schus to be able to see the book published. And Baruch Hashem, today, Baruch Hashem, the book is published. Only one problem we have. I asked the publisher, I promised to hand out books by the book signing, and I need 100 books. So he tells me, I'm sorry, we just sold out. No more books. And this happened. And this miracle happened in 6 days, which is one, I think, this is a historic event. My dear friends, especially Mandy, who put so much work in it, I haven't got enough words to thank and appreciate, to express my appreciation. Mandy, thank you very much, and Hashem should reward you for all the work you did. As I prepared for today's festation, I thought about what I might say when I call up to speak, but the outcome of goodwill and respect from those of you who have come to honor the Ribnitzer Rebbe as humbled by the thought of the warmth and affection will share with us. I know my own words will be inadequate. Express my feelings. I will need to expect to help me so. I turned to David HaMelech. This was the king of Judea, the king of Jerusalem. He was a big composer, beside being a big warrior, and they had composed 150 psalms. Ladies and gentlemen, there's one psalm which is 150 verses. The smallest one, which have only 2. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard enough speeches, and I have harmonies for you. I'm going to quote only the shortest, which is 2 verses. Hallelujah es Hashem kol goyim, shabchihi kol imim, higover lein chazdoi, ve'emes adoyne loylum hallelujah. In English, may God be praised by all the nations. May all people recognize, extol God's virtues. May God's kindness saturate our lives. God's truth is that God is eternal. He is to be praised. Baruch Shem L'olam. This is the smallest chapter in Tehillim. With this here, I would like to thank you again. May Hashem all here present should bless you. You have a wonderful year with joy, pleasure, perfect health, without any interruptions. Be as Goel. Amen.
Call upon the bagpipers now. Quiet, the band and the bagpipers, please take over the music. Okay, the band then, please. Okay. We're waiting at...
What happened? Should God got defeated with the
He did my son's circumcision. Today's his
like that was sport that. So if anything happens up here, South Railroad, contact my office and they
morning.
Oh, can you squeeze in for a second?
You go back.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to read your book when they're doing stuff. Oh, okay. Oh, there is?
Yeah, I got it. He's getting it. I see. Got my seat. Not too hot up there. No, it's going down.
Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kelly. Got your copy. Can I get a sign?
Thank you. Romi. Shmuel.
That's the message.
You go all the way up here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello?
The ensign, and that's good. And I-L-E-N-E. I-L. Yep. E-N-E.
So you want the authentic signature. That's what you need.
I got a million Romi signatures stored here.
But not on the book. But I got on the book.
Not on the book. Thousands and thousands.
Just a second. Romi?
I'm good. Good.
Some of the neighbors have some gifts, okay? So you can put them. Okay, and here?
That's why I came out of it. I need you. No more retirement. New age, 150, 165.
Yeah, I'll come around, I'll bring it in.
Oh, you don't have to.
You'll bring it in, thank you.
Get 68, so keep going.
I got a new word earlier, believe me. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Excuse me? Excuse me? Could you bring these inside?
I'm going to bring it in.
Oh, okay, you'll do it? Okay, there's another one here.
You can trust me. I'm not going to cheat.
Take care. Take care. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank
I met him a few times.
When? How long ago?
50 years ago.
Years? Where was it? Staten Island or?
Avi. Stephen Kaysen. Avi.
With Stephen Kaysen? Oh, in the five town on Sukkot. That's your grandfather? Oh, your wife was works for him?
Stephen Kaysen's father.
Yeah, I got that. I know your wife. Wow.
He looked familiar.
I forgot his name. What's his name? The baby.
The baby is Amram.
What do they call him?
Andy.
Andy. Only Nachas. I see him around, Stephen. So Sukkot on Chalmud.
A big sukkah there.
Well, it's more than 2 years.
Yeah, it's 4 years.
Oh,
It'll be now 4 years. I couldn't place you, and now.
Excuse me. You know if the book is free?
I believe he's giving them out.
But you're not sure? We don't want to steal them.
Oh, yeah, no, he's not asking for it. I'm saying he's giving them out here.
Oh, okay. You have one, not every. Yeah. Okay. All right, so nice. Thank you very much. Brenda,
Brenda, do you want a book? What you say?
Smile, take a picture. Okay, one sec. Marvel felt first. Got the home. I came special for you.
How's Israel? Twice, 24 hours. I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining.
Drop off for the new baby.
Sessions like you then. Okay, I'll get a picture of this.
Thank you.
Charlie, come over here. What's your son? The picture sitting next to the rabbi. And the good doctor. Let me sit there. Sorry, Charlie. Joseph, I should have had you stand over. I didn't realize you were there. I forgot. Next time they put the picture, we can go into the picture. My mistake, I apologize.
For a good signature.
I don't have words.
I'll take you up on that offer also. What?
I certainly will. Anyone else have a book?
Got one? Any more books? Svi, right?
Ellie.
Who's Svi then?
Steve Cohen, you think it's Steve Cohen?
Guys, smile, smile. I watch over you guys. Come on, home every day. Of course you do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Anyone else need a book? I would like to. I'd like to start with you. Anyone else need a book?
Are you Dr. Tucker's wife?
No, my letter check is right. Yeah, I would like to.
Beautiful. We heard a lot about it. I got to meet him twice.
Oh, very good. Does anyone else need a book? Anyone need a book? Books?
This is my friend Miriam.
I don't need a present.
To the Berkowitz family. To the Berkowitz family, to the general.
They're coming for? And we need a book? Everything.
The 3 boys, one of them, the girl.
Yes, I am. YS by Design. It's a photo studio owned by Yeshua Solomon. It's Queens.
Some of the glossary. Okay. But what I just did, I have that's Romi. My mother said, I have no relatives now, but I have my friends with my family. All Jews are, should be, and are one big family. And I went to college about and then I want to thank you. They went through it, made it 2 or 3 words. Wow. Thank you very much. And we should all be over to see him. We should all be over to see Mashiach.
I love it. So I just kept organizing.
Yes.